Hey everyone, Brian with Steamburger Studios here. This will be a quick one going over how I made some sound effects for my latest Epic MegaJam game, Upgrade. When working on a game jam project, you don't have a ton of time, so you need to keep things basic and concise. Use what you know, use what you have. In my case, I've got a Keylab 49 keyboard that came with some VST plugins that are perfect for this type of project with the 80s synth sound, and I can use those in FL Studio. I've also got a small collection of inexpensive VSTs from Spitfire and others that I can use and farm for neat sounds that might fit this project also. So we'll focus on the laser pew-pew sound effect for this tutorial. Keep it nice and concise and short for you. The weapon itself is a laser revolver with a drum that rotates to the next round when fired. So we'll need to create a sound effect that captures both the laser pew as well as the drum rotating to charge up the next shot. Alright, so in FL Studio, I'm just going to pull up the VST library that has those cool 80s synth sounds that I like, and we'll just search around and see if anything comes up that fits the description of what we're trying to make. In this case, it is a laser, so let's type in laser and see what comes up. Okay, here's one that sounds great. I think we can use this. But we're not going to just stick with one sound. When a weapon is fired, there's usually an impulse, a bang, a kick. So we need to find something that gives us that big bassy oomph that we need to back up the actual laser projectile sound that we found earlier. So here's a 909 kick. It's a bass drum synthesized. Sounds pretty good. I think we can use it. So this sounds pretty good, but it's very bassy. Need something to give it more dynamic range in the highs. So let's open up this drum kit that comes with this VST, see if there's any sort of like hi-hat that we can use to give us that extra range. All right, here's one that sounds good right here. Hey, that sounds like a laser blast to me. We still have the drum. It rotates when fired, so we need to find something that sounds like a mechanical part twisting around. So for that, I actually have listened to some sounds that came out of the Spitfire Media Toolkit. So I'm going to open that up and noodle around and see what we have here. So after a little bit of noodling around with the Media Toolkit, I did find this latch locker. It sounds, when played sequentially in a certain cadence, that it's like a mechanical part that's moving, and I think it fits very well. So we'll put it in here and line it up with the timing and see how she goes. Hey, that's perfect. We've got high dynamic range, we've got representation of the laser blast, we've got representation of the barrel rotating. I think we've got our sound effect. All we have to do now is export it and bring it into Unreal. So go into File, Export, I'm going to select Wave, and I'm going to leave the remaining trail, and I'm going to export the pattern. Everything's set to default, pick my directory, and start. So while we wait for Unreal to load up, I do want to talk about the dynamic range I mentioned earlier. And what I mean by that is I want every sound that I make to have a high and a low that's represented. I need it to have depth and complexity so it doesn't sound boring when you hear it over and over and over again. So that's why I've layered multiple types of sounds on top of each other to create a single sound effect. Alright, so provided we saved our wave file in our Unreal project directory, it will automatically start to import You may get a dialog box that pops up with some options. I just leave everything at default and let that wave drop in. Once you've got your wave file, simply right click on it and say create cue. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this cue and add a modulation modifier to its nodes. And what this will allow us to do is slightly change the tone and the pitch of the sound effect every time it's played. So instead of playing the wave file directly, we'll play this cue, which runs the modulation. Alright, now I've opened up my weapon blueprint, located the fire event, and right here at the beginning, I'm going to drop in a play sound at location. And set the location to get actor location, so it'll play right where the gun is. Hey, and that's all there is to it. Once you've got your wave file generated, dropped into your project, turned it into a cue, add some modulation so it sounds different every time, add it to your weapon fire event, and that is all there is to it. So that's going to wrap it up for this tutorial. If you enjoyed the tutorial or found it useful at all for your process, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.